Candles can be used for various things. They can be used as a light source when there are no lights, to pay tribute to someone who has passed away, or even for that romantic candle-light dinner. The entire process of making candles is pretty interesting. Have you ever wondered how they get all that wax into its shape? Well, let's find out today. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we will look at some incredible unknown facts about the process of making candles by skilled craftsmen. We are going to go to a candle mass production site. But before we do that, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos on how things are made. And with that, let's start. This is a very delicate yet exciting process. Since they are working with hot melted wax, they have to be careful about how they conduct their operations. They also have to ensure it is clean because they are supposed to be super clean. The whole process of candle making starts with melting large blocks of wax. These boxes of wax are probably bought from another company. When they get here, the large blocks of wax are put in a large container with more melted wax. Once all the wax has been emptied into the container, the lid is brought down, and it is now heated. The liquid wax flows into a large container through another opening as it melts. Here, it is kept warm, so it doesn't solidify and mess up the process. Using a long brush, the worker moves from hole to hole, applying this lubricant. He ensures he has gone through all the holes before proceeding to the next step. After that, it is now time to add the melted wax. After the melted wax is collected in the containers, it flows through pipes all over the place to where the wax is supposed to be poured. Once here, all the worker needs to open up the tap and let the wax flow out. He does not have to pour the wax into each hole individually. He has to pour the wax into the first two spaces, and then it will overflow into the other spots. Whether the wax flows on the surface is not an issue because it can still be reused. The worker does this until all the spaces are filled with wax. Once this is done, the wicks need to be set straight, so they don't become crooked in the candle. Therefore, since some candles with wicks came through them into the holes, they were pulled towards the holes. To help in aligning them to the center of the holes, there are two metal rods on each side, that the worker pulls to ensure that the candle wicks are in the middle. The wicks are all coming out from under the whole tabletop in long, continuous strips. Once the worker sets them at the top, he has to pull them downwards to ensure they are tight. Once this is done, he ties them to a bolt to prevent them from coming out. Once that set of candles is set and in the cooling process, the worker moves on to the next table. He starts by greasing it just like in the previous step. After that, he continues to pour in the melted wax until all the holes are filled. Like before, the worker sets the wicks in the middle with the help of the metal rod, then pulls the wicks from below the table to tighten them. After this, the wax is left to solidify. Other candles are made from colored wax. They would need to use colored wax to make these kinds of candles. The colored wax is passed through a pipe, greasing paper, and a large sieve. This is for them to remove any impurities that may be there. Once they ensure no contaminants in the liquid wax, it is ready. By this time, the wax has already taken color, and all remaining is to pour it into the holes. However, it cannot use the same holes as the white candles because it may discolor future white candles. The liquid wax is poured from both sides by two different workers. Once all the holes are filled with this wax, they leave it to dry. If there are no previous candles on the table, the wicks are tied to the metal rods and centrally placed. Even though the wax is already solid, there is still the risk of having some air pockets inside. Therefore, they need to ensure no air pockets in the candle. To ensure this, they start by poking holes in the semi-solid wax with the help of suspended pins above the table. They are brought down and put into the wax, leaving a large opening. After that, the worker pours some more wax into a metallic kettle and pours it into the newly punctured holes. He makes sure that there are no holes that have been left with any air spaces. To make sure of this, he uses another rod to poke into the wax and make sure that there are no more air pockets. After that, it is left to solidify completely. When it is time to remove the candles, the worker has to push them out of the holes. He can't just pull them out because of how they were added. That will risk breaking them and rendering them useless. A lever pushes the bottom part of the holes upwards, making the candles protrude. Once they protrude, there will be some parts of dried wax that are between the candles. The worker starts by removing these parts, making sure that each candle is now independent. As he breaks off these parts, he places them on the tabletop, then later collects all these pieces into a large bin. The worker then removes the candles from the holes, placing them on the table. After all that, he uses the metallic rods to pull a little more of the wicks through the holes to give him enough space to work with them. This happens when there are no more candles on the table. If there were previous candles on the table, the wicks are first snipped off with scissors before the other candles are removed. He has to ensure that all the wicks have been cut before proceeding. After that, each worker removes the previous candles from the table and places them on a platform. They are all arranged and ready for the next step. As for the colored candles, the process is still the same. With the help of a rod, holes are poked through each candle, and colored wax is poured into these holes. This is to ensure that all the candles are compact and do not have any air pockets. As they are drying, it is time for the final steps with the ready candles. The candles that have been removed now have to be shaped. This is done with the help of a saw. The saw is turned on, and each candle is cut at one of the edges. There is a platform for measuring each candle to ensure they are all the same size. The exact process of removing the white candles is the same as for the colored candles. They are first pushed through the holes, then the extra wax is removed, and finally, it is all placed on the table, and the wicks are cut. After that, it is the same as the previous candles when cutting. Branding is the easiest thing ever, because all they need to do is they need to be rolled on a sticker that has all the details. The writing sticks all around the candle when it is moved on this sticker. Finally, they are all placed in polythene paper and are ready for shipping. As for the white candles, some stickers are placed on them for branding. As they are being put in polythene bags, they are also being packed in boxes. So, what do you think of the process of making the candles? Feel free to let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.